Hey guys, good morning. It's the first morning of 2018. Happy New Year. Ivy's out chasing something. I don't know. She likes to run around and keep the area clear and safe for me while I'm wandering. I kind of wanted to take you guys on a little bit of a hike and show you some of the projects I have for this upcoming year. Some of them are underway already and others are going to happen, hopefully before the end of the year. I've started off over by the beehives. Yeah, there are 3 of them. That's a story that I never got to, and one that I'm going to have to tell you soon, but maybe not in this video. There are bees in every single one of those hives. I have 3 hives of bees, and I don't have any experience overwintering bees. Every time I take a peek through their hive entrance, I see them in there, but I still need to learn a little bit about checking on their health. We're going to check that out. That's going to be something that comes with the next months. I need to do a little bit of research, and of course there's the few of you that really know about their bees. What do I need to do in the winter time for checking on them? You know, do I ever open the hive? I left all the honey in there other than that one video you saw me take out of the flow hive. Otherwise, I haven't really taken any honey out of them, and they were nearly full. So I was assuming that is plenty of food for those bees. But yeah, what should I watch for, huh? Well, of course, I'm walking past the house. There's a few little odds and ends that need to be finished up in there, and I really need to clean. Can you see underneath my house there? All of the leftover junk and stuff from construction has to go and be organized. But one thing that is not under there anymore are the goats. The goats have been evicted from under the house, and that's a blessed thing. I'll have to show you their corral, but there's the solar panels. There's a little bit of sunlight hitting them right now. The sunshiny days are rare, and we're enjoying the fact that the solstice is over and that the days are getting longer. Every day we get a little more sunshine and a little more use out of those solar panels. So I think we're going to start celebrating the solstice, maybe both of them. You know, as a homesteader, you look forward to the rebirth of the sun and the longer days and the next growing season. But as a homesteader that's off the grid, you get really excited about longer days. So we have double the reason to celebrate the winter solstice. So Daisy and Astrid have been hearing us talk over here. Hi, Daisy and Astrid. They really want out, but they can come out with me this time. I often, now that I have them in their new pen, I let them out during the daylight as long as it's not raining, and I let them go out and forage because that's what they're here for, is to clean up the brush and stuff. But Audrey and I just built this wattle fence. Now, I'm using a selfie stick, so I kind of have to walk backwards. But do you see this? It's really quite shabby. We kind of threw it together, but this is really cool. We're going to be doing a lot of wattle fences. I didn't get the right footage together to make a good video out of it, but I'm still trying to hobble things together to make something good. Because wattle fences and living hedges are going to become a part of this homestead. And I want to talk a little bit about that as I walk on to the next piece of show and tell. So why don't I just do a traditional fence, right? I've grown up with barbed wire fences and net wire fences, and that's what I see as a traditional fence. Maybe it's just because that's what I grew up with. Why don't I do that here? it's because of the silly blackberries. I have not grown up dealing with blackberries. I've grown up with sagebrush, and that can be a hard thing to pull out of the fence, right? But I just know that things grow here rapidly, and I also know how detrimental wire can be. It is a pretty abrasive thing when it's stuck in a hedge. And I want to stick with natural living or natural grown on the property itself fences as much as I can. And that wattle fence was pretty cool to make. We have plenty of these alder branches. Hi, Astrid. Oh. We have plenty of these alder branches, and they make a pretty good wattle fence. I'm not good at it. I watched a few videos of people that are, you know, passed down through the generations. they are the artisans of wattle fences. I'm not nearly that good, but we're going to keep working on that. So our old house, our beautiful camp trailer is another big project for this coming year. I hate to show you inside. This wet, musty environment has decimated that thing. Between us living in it and the environment, that thing is full of rot and mold and yuck. And Audrey and I were crunching the numbers, figuring out what it would cost to restore it a little bit to get some money back out of it if we sold it. And it occurred to us that we could put less money into it and convert it into half chicken coop, half animal food storage, grain storage, and, you know, animal tools and so on. So storage shed slash chicken coop. Build a little roof on the top of it, make some really good ventilation holes, and we'd have a pretty nice setup. Plus, as we're getting our homestead established, we have some wheels on it and it can move around, and we can actually get it to park at a final destination once we have that destination decided. So we're going to go that way. That's one of the up and coming projects. Now, another up and coming project are all of these alder trees. Do you see these big, tall alder trees? I have learned that you can tap an alder tree and make alder syrup, just like sweet maple syrup. Of course, there's a reason why maple syrup is sold and not alder syrup. Apparently, from what I've heard, alder syrup isn't nearly so sweet. But I have always dreamt of making maple syrup, and I've always wanted to do it. And I've wanted to do it so bad that I was actually disappointed. I felt like I was settling for this place because it doesn't have maples all over it, right? How neat would it have been to move to one of those beautiful, rare places in this world that have maple trees growing all over the property. But I learned that I can make alder syrup, and why not? So I'm currently learning the cycles here to see when the sap flow, or whatever the term is, begins here in this area. And I'll be starting that project soon. Who wants to do syrup with me, huh? I'm excited. So up the hill we go. I'm going to head on to a big project. A big project. And this project has a lot of ifs. A few of you know, who have watched my older videos, that we have a power line going through our property over here. That was part of the reason why our property was less expensive. In my opinion, if you want to go the route of having a power line through your property so you have a lower cost to buy property, this is the power line to have. It's a small one. Well, it's still a high voltage power line, but it's not a giant high voltage power line. It's not a main artery. It's a, I don't know the history of it, but it seems like an older one. It doesn't have nearly the capacity, but it's 3 wires. Yeah, it's only 3 wires. I mean, this isn't a big guy at all. Yeah, see, the sun is in the wrong place, so you might not be able to see the wires, but I'll point it that way. See behind me that there's 2 poles, 3 wires. It's not a very big power line, but you see all this space? I own just over to the base of that really steep ridge, or the steep slope over there. And I own up and over the edge over here. That falls within my property line, right? It's really steep terrain, and the power company likes to keep it clean. They don't want anything growing up and affecting the power lines, those types of things. Also, no domestic buildings or no structures under the power line within the easement. But a lot of times power companies encourage the right kind of agriculture, and I have been making plans to terrace the ground here and plant some sort of crop. The terracing part is my main focus right now. I've had a few different ideas on crops, from herbs to turnips to something that's high maintenance and high value is okay with me, because I don't have a lot of growing acreage. Nothing that's low maintenance, low value, and just need some high value crop. So this is going to be a huge project. I'm planning on doing a large portion of the terracing by hand, mainly because I don't know of a good piece of equipment to work on hillsides to terrace, and also because I kind of like that old school methodology. We'll see how fast that evolves once the project begins. I have a sun behind my head. That's probably hard to look at. I haven't explored that part of my property yet. Not very much anyway. It's really thick and overgrown, but it looks so cool. I'll have to get down in there one of these days. There's so many places here that you just can't get to easily. What a strange world that we've entered here. Audrey and I grew up in those wide open spaces of Idaho. You can see for miles, unless there's a mountain in your way, of course, but you can see right up the side of the mountain too, usually. But here it's just as thick can be when the trees have been cut not too long ago. Things grow really fast. So I'm standing in a bunch of growth here. I think this is salal. It's a new plant to me. And then there's a bunch of ferns. Another thing that I've been looking into and studying up on is foraging. And soon, I wouldn't mind starting to go through and exploring the property and trying to forage different herbs and plants and see if I can make a little bit of an income off the land the way it is. A lot of it A lot of it is beautiful the way it is, and I want to preserve it somewhat if I can. So I'm hoping, if I can, to protect it. Whew, this is steep. I'm watching really close where my feet are. I want to look off this edge. Oh, whoa. I want to look off of it, not fall right off of it. I'll hold this up so you can see what I'm walking through. Good thing there aren't a lot of snakes around here, huh? Wow, this is steep. So this is on our property too. And it's kind of the only south-facing slope we have. Ivy's pushing past me here. That is steep, Ivy. If it were possible, this could be a good place to grow something. But man, it would be steep. Think of the work it would take to terrace a hill this steep. Would it even be worth it? Erosion control is high on my list of priorities too. And the way it is, there is a lot of erosion control going on. This is very densely grown. It seems like it is the way I would want it to be. But wow, is it steep. Not a good place to put my feet from here. Woo! This is really intriguing. Now don't push me off, goat. I am beginning to think that this is not the place to descend this hill. The goats behind me think it's fun though. There's a lot of good food down here. Don't push on me, goat. But I'm going the other way. Let's see if I can get up out of this thing. Watch out, Daisy Daisy. Get a good handhold. Ugh. Go around my goats. Whew. Well, I hope that wasn't too much of a rodeo. So I just thought of something that I didn't mention when I was speaking of terracing under these power lines and stuff. One of the methods of control that the power company uses to manage vegetative growth is they spray chemicals, mostly for the blackberries in this area. And it's just because they have miles and miles of stuff to manage, and it's hard to manage it any other way. I am hoping to reduce their need to do that. Kind of a private person, and if I can do some of their maintenance work in a way that profits me, and in a way that they don't have to come back or visit my property as often, that they can trust me to take care of some of this and just leave me alone, the better, in my opinion. I'd rather it be that way. So that's my goal. If I can put in the work to have some sort of management plan between growing crops, maybe fencing it off for the goats, those types of things. So anytime they come out to check on things, they see that it's well maintained to their liking, then I would feel better about that. Eventually they'll start to say, you know, we don't need to bring a crew out and clear it out. Like last spring, they had a crew out here to cut branches, stuff like that, just to keep everything clear. You know, they have to protect this power line. If they don't have to show up, I'm happier. So that's part of my goal. So yeah, sure, right now there might be quite a bit of chemical through here, but eventually maybe we can get it cleaned up, and you know, that's not going to be a problem anymore. Oh. So, speaking of all the things that I'm going to do, I'm a little out of breath because I climbed down a big hill. But you see I'm walking on this big tree that has fallen. Some sort of resinous tree. And I'm guessing it is cedar by how long it's lived or remained unrotten. But it crosses a very wet portion of our ground here and makes a fantastic bridge. And it reminds me that another big project that I'm going to be working on throughout the year is cutting trails through the property and making paths for me to explore it and get back and forth between places where I'm working and home. Works fairly good for the goats too, can you tell? So there's another one. All right, the area I'm walking through right here is going to be our backyard. Check it out, there's our house. We're planning on making a little outdoor hot tub shower area out here. It seems like a nice relaxing way to take on the new year. So I'm really bad at doing comfort projects first, so who knows what's going to happen there. But that's the planned spot. So, and of course, we've got this big area here that we need to flatten out and plant in something. We know that we want a little patch of grass that we can run around on and play on. And then we're hoping to do a flower garden over there towards the end for my wife. Do something kind of big there. We're not really big on flowers in our history here. We haven't grown many flowers. I personally like the flowers that turn into fruit and then you can eat them. But I've recently been persuaded to grow more flowers, especially for the bees, but also because why not beautify things, huh? So we're going to start a flower garden over there. Anyway, took you on a little bit of a tour. I better end this video before it gets way too long. But Happy New Year's, everybody. We're so glad to have you along for 2018. We're working on some of these other videos for you soon. And, you know, especially the solar one. You guys have been asking to see our off-grid system, and I'm trying to put something good together for you. It's better than my normal rambling videos and walking around videos. I hope to put together better information and more precise information. Of course, I should mention that I do have some ways to fund the channel now. Some of you have asked in the past, and I've got it put together. So you can check it out in the description of this video, head over to my website. I have information in all of those places. I also have a goat trying to eat my other camera. Anyway, thanks guys for being part of this journey and taking this journey with us on Simple Ground.